Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today in this video I'm going to grease this fan. The problem is that this fan is running for more than 5-6 years now and we haven't greased it, and recently it's making a lot of scratching noise and probably the bearing is very dry and it's causing it to get a little hot from the bottom, and also it's making a lot of noise when it's running. So in this video we are going to grease the bearings or whatever parts possible. So first thing that I'm going to do is basically I'm going to use a paintbrush and get rid of this dust, and then I'm going to take off the blades, and then I will open the main assembly of the fan. So let's remove the fan. I'm going to use the blade. I'm going to use this screwdriver. So let me remove all the blades, clean the fan, and then show you how we do after that. Okay, so I've cleaned the fan and removed all the blades, and now you can see that there are 3 screws still left on the fan, and these 3 screws are basically holding the fan together. So let me just open these 3 screws. This is one, this is the second, and this is the third one. So let me just open them. Okay, so we've opened all the screws. Now we need to take the fan apart. To take the fan apart, all you have to do is basically use a screwdriver, and I'm going to insert the screwdriver in the seam between. As you can see, there is a small seam, and if you put a screwdriver and gently tap with something, you can see that the fan is slowly coming apart. Can you see the gap increasing? There. So keep doing that until you get the fan separated, and then we will be able to see the bearing. So okay, so the screws are open, and I was basically separated the top of the fan from the bottom, and you can gently wiggle it out and use a screwdriver a little bit to increase the gap, and you should be able to separate the two without any problem. So as you can see, I have separated it. So this is our rotor, and this is a small spring with some grease, and if you can touch it, you can see, so this is a spring. You can touch it, you can see that the grease is still good on the bottom on the bottom bearing. So let's keep it aside. So this is the bottom bearing, and as you can see, the grease is still there. So this bearing is still working, and you can rotate it with your finger, and as you can see, it is rotating without any problem. But you can see that the grease is hardened a little bit. However, the grease is very good, and this bearing is not causing the sound in our fan. So what I will do is to thin this hardened grease, I will use a little bit of diesel. So let me just put a little. So I've got a little bit of diesel in this small tube. So as you can see, the grease is hardened. The grease is hardened, and to make the grease thin, I'm just going to put a little bit of diesel in there, and that will dissolve the grease a little bit, and hopefully the fan will be good for another couple of years. Now let's open the top of the bearing, and let's see what is the problem in that. Okay, so in my fan I have this small slit, as you can see here, this metal thing that is covering the top bearing. So to access the top bearing, all I will have to do is basically undo these screws. So let me just open these screws. That's one. That second screw. Let me just get the other one. Now if I lift this metal thing up, you can see that underneath is our top bearing. and looks like that has a lot of hardened grease. So what I will do is basically I will put some diesel there as well, and I will also put some new grease. And before that, I will clean this with very small screwdriver, this one. And to get better access to this bearing, I will need to lift this up, this small spacer up. This spacer is held together in place by this screw. So let me just open this screw. So the screw is out. Now as you can see, this metal thing can be lifted up. And I can get a better access to the bearing at the bottom. In some cases you will have to completely remove this whole assembly to get to the top bearing. In this case I'm not going to remove everything because that will take a lot of time. And the place where I took this fan off is a very warm place, so I need to replace the fan as quickly as possible. So as you can see at the bottom, I can easily access the bearing. Here is the bearing, and I will clean this with a brush and some, and then I will also add some new grease. So I'm going to take a brush and access the bearing at the bottom, and then use my brush to clean it up. Okay, so I'm sorry guys, because when I was applying the grease I forgot to turn on press the record button. I thought the camera was recording, but it wasn't. So I wanted to still wanted to show you the grease that I'm using. So you can use any grease, but I got this from a petrol pump. You can buy grease from a petrol pump or any shop where you buy your distilled water for your inverters. So this is the one that I use. This is from HP. This is the AP3 grease, and this is lithium based. You can use any other grease that you have. This is a 200 gram version, and I think I bought it a very long time ago. I think I paid 180 rupees for this, for 200 gram of grease. I think you can get it for cheaper. I don't exactly remember if I paid 180 or less or more, but I think I paid somewhere about 180 rupees. So that's what I remember. So what I basically did was when I got the access to the bearing inside my fan, I took some grease on my finger, and then I gently pressed the grease inside the grooves. As you can see, there are small bearings, small balls, and in between the balls there is a small space, and we want to press some grease inside that space. What some people do is basically some people just put the grease on top of the bearing, but that's not enough. We want the grease to go inside in between the balls, so that when the ball rolls on the track, it touches the grease. So what we want to do is we want to put some grease and then press it inside the bearing. So as you can see here, I have a small diagram of the the bearing. I think in this video I've been referring to bearing as grease, but there we go. This is the small diagram. So in between you can see there is this space. So we want to take some grease, put some grease in this area, and then press it with our finger inside the bearing. So once the bearing starts rotating, the balls will be covered in the grease, and the fan will start rotating smoothly. So the fan that I showed you in the beginning was making a lot of squeaky noise and a lot of weird noises. After applying the grease, the fan is working smoothly, and let me just show you how the fan is working. Okay, so here's the fan. As you can see, it's looking fairly clean because I have cleaned it, and it was making a lot of squeaky and a lot of noises when we were running it before. It's a very small blade fan, so let me just turn it on and show you how the fan is running. I know the video is not very good, and I don't expect you to guys give this video a thumbs up, because The main part was when I was applying the grease, and unfortunately I couldn't remember to turn on the camera, turn on the recording button. But anyways, this is how the fan runs. As you can see, the fan is running and it is not making any squeaky noises. So there we go, this was my video on how to grease your fan. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.